Hello everyone and welcome to Shelf Space. I'm your host Roz13 and today we are diving back into the world of the Build series, starting with where it all began, the Build Strike Gundam full package. Specifically, this is the HG kit. I know there's an MG out there somewhere, but I don't have it. Anyway, I've always wanted to have this particular version of the Build Strike. At the very least, I would love to have all of them, but space, time, money, all that stuff is a bit of a constraint. But I'm really happy to have this one, and I'm really happy to show it off to you guys. So let's get started first with looking at the box. So to start off, we've got a really cool illustration of the Build Strike full package, complete with the backpack unit, as well as the flyer thing itself. I know it has a specific name. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. We got the blue Bandai logo, which shows that this is, in fact, a reissue of it, because this kit came out in 2013. That seems like forever ago. On this side, we have some cool photographs of the kit and its add-on stuff. Very cool. Then over here, we have the same illustration as before, plus all the text and stuff. I'm dropping the box. More painted photographs of the kit. It looks a lot better in here than it does on mine. And then a little write-up. And of course, because this kit is so old, everything's in Japanese, and I can't read a word of it. Then on this side, same as the other, except we've got the Bandai, not the Bandai, the Bluefin sticker, and yeah. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the figure itself. And here's the kit with just its standard loadout. We got beam sabers, shield, and its basic rifle. I say basic rifle because it actually comes with some other weapons, but we'll get into that more later. But I gotta say, this thing looks pretty cool. Color separation with the plastic is pretty on point, but there's still quite a few stickers. And I pretty much used all of them because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to paint this guy. So that's something to be aware of. So like the yellow details up here on the shoulders, eyes of course, these blue markings here on the knees, the white parts of the shield here. I think that's the most sort of unforgivable, if you will. And then there's several other stickers that are really, really big on the flyer pack. But I mean, other than that, this thing looks pretty cool. Oh, I guess red here as well. So it could benefit with, maybe another pass with some better color separation. But I still dig it. Let's go ahead, take a look at the head sculpt, and get started with articulation. So something I noticed, and maybe it's just me, but the eyes on this kit seem to be a lot bigger than your standard Gunpla. I don't know if that's to make them more expressive or what, but it's an interesting detail. Now, one cool thing is the red and white bits here, those are actual plastic. That is not sticker based. So yay for that at least, because those would have been really hard to do. Though speaking of hard to do, that tiny little blue sticker was a pain in the butt to get on. Let's go ahead, rotate the head around a little bit. You got some restriction because of the armor that sticks up here. But the details on this thing are pretty on point. Go ahead, rotate him around. That sticker was also a pain. But there's a lot of finely sculpted details in this, and I greatly appreciate that. So, articulation-wise, I already showed that you do have rotation, but it is restricted a little bit unless you move things around by the armor around the collar. You do have the double jointed neck thing that allows for your standard turkey necking motion. So pretty much standard head sculpt, head articulation for an HD. Does get a pretty decent look up. And pretty decent look down for brooding shots. Darkness. No parents. Okay, we're good now. So, shoulder-wise is about what you would expect. You have a butterfly joint polycap that lets you move forward a little bit. Ball socket joint, so you can rotate around and have pretty decent movement. We'll show off articulation on this arm because this one has the shield on it. You have a bicep swivel. Nice. Double jointed elbow for pretty decent bend, all things considered. And your standard wrist swivel on a polycap ball socket joint. So, nothing too spectacular, but still pretty good. You have a little bit of an ab crunch, so that's nice. And you can rotate all the way around if you really want to. Again, you do have some armor bits that will restrict things, so just be careful, otherwise you will, pop something off or worse, break it. For kick up, you got pretty standard, fairly high kick. Then you got your standard HD double jointed knee, but pretty impressive bend, actually. Since you don't have any excess armor around here, it is pretty much unrestricted. Then foot is on, let's see, is that a ball socket joint or is it a series of joints? Well, either way, you got your basic ankle tilt, as well as up and back. And this is on a joint as well to move things around. Front skirts do hinge up. They are connected right now, but I believe they are the kind that you can separate. Butt flap does not move. Let's check out the Van Damme on this thing. Oh. Can only go so far before it pops something off. Though with how big these side skirts are, that's not too surprising. But overall, the posability on this thing is phenomenal. Particularly considering that this was, part of a, kid-oriented Gunpla line. They could have easily have, just phoned it in on this, but instead decided to go all out. So let's talk about accessories. So in addition to all of these, we do have 2 beam saber blades. You know what those look like, so I'm not going to worry about them too much. A little pistol that actually looks pretty cool. And then we have his larger rifle, which I don't think he completely uses in this form, because it's not even depicted on the box, at least when in the main illustration. So switching out weapons is actually fairly easy. You just can pull them out and then slot back in. And there you go. Now, the one thing I will say about this is the weapon that it's depicting is not all gray. There is a whole lot of color that is not there. But I'm sure you guys are wanting to see the big accessory that comes with this. So let's get to that. Whoosh! So here is the backpack flyer unit thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it looks pretty cool. The only problem is that all these white bits here are giant stickers that, well, let's be honest, they don't look super great. They have to go over and fold over surfaces and stuff like that, and it's not the best look. I'm still debating on what I'm planning on doing with this, if I'm going to take these stickers off and try to paint it myself, or just let it be. The little red bits here are also stickers, as well as the cockpit, though that part looks pretty decent. And there should be a lot more color on these gun barrels here, but there isn't any. They molded this all completely in blue, and I'm guessing that is for the fact that this part actually is can be sold separately. So they molded it in one color just so that they only had to worry about 1 or 2 runners. Don't know. But overall, not too bad, just the stickers are kind of bleh. That does pop off its little ball joint there. But these can move around. Wings can flap if you want them to. And this can reposition itself pretty much however you think it would go. I've been putting it like this, because I think that looks kind of cool. But let's go ahead and get this thing transformed into the backpack. I'm going to start looking at the instructions now to make sure I don't mess this up. So, we start by pointing these downward and making them pop off. Then we kind of pull this out and then rotate it down. And we have a little connector right there. Go ahead and get this guy straightened up. Readjust my lighting a little bit. Okay. We have a port in the back, and then we just plug it in like so. Rotate the wings down. Rotate these parts of the wings up. And there it is. And I gotta say, once you get the full setup on this thing, he looks super, super cool. I really dig the big wings. I like the extra weapons that it adds. You can just flip these up. And there are actually little handles you can flip out. But even just with them down, you have that sort of seraphim angelic wing thing going on. And it looks really cool. So, yeah, I really dig this thing. And if you're a fan of the build series, if you like the Strike Gundam, which this is based off of, though interestingly enough, everything here seemed to be original to the kit. There was no parts for a regular Strike, at least that I could tell. But yeah, if you like the build series, you like the Strike Gundam, you like protag suits, go for this one. It's pretty cool. So let's do a quick comparison with the only build series protagonist suit that I happen to have handy right now. And that is the Core Gundam, specifically Core Gundam Earth 3 Armor. And it is pretty cool to see these two together. Though I'm just now realizing that they use completely different shades of blue. Interesting. Set that up a little bit better. You can also see that the Strike Gundam full package is considerably taller than the Core Gundam. His legs are splayed out a little bit, and he still looks like he's a little bit taller. So, wow. But it's cool to see these two together. Completely different generations, different sort of thought processes into how things are built, but still really, really cool. So yeah, once again, I dig this thing, and I think you probably would too. The stickers are the main detractor from that, And there's not a whole lot you can do about that other than either use them, like I did, or go in and paint. So that's something to be aware of. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Check the description below for links to my storefront where you can get official shelf space, t-shirts, and more. And yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.